I enjoy coming to work every day knowing that clients are depending on me to guide them through whatever financial needs they have.
Every client we have is different. And so it's really about finding out what's really the most important thing per client.
With financial planning, everything is interconnected. So a comprehensive plan means that you're taking care of income needs now, income needs in the intermediate term, and income needs long term. We'll do an asset cycle portfolio. We'll do a riskalyze test. We'll do a life insurance audit or a life insurance review.
And so when we build a deep relationship with our clients, then we can take a step back, and then we can look at different options to help them specifically get to their goals. One of the things I feel our job is as advisors is to introduce strategies to clients that maybe they did not know that they were out there. But it's our idea, our job to come out and say, have you ever thought about this?
And the planning it's not always about income, but a lot of it is also about the legacy. So the element of family is very important to us, and it's important to our clients.
Hello, my name is Steve Jablonski, and I'm the host of Financially Speaking with Jeff Bush. Today we have a topic that, thousands and thousands of millions of people are in coming into, and that's retirement. And last month, I should say, we did the Retirement Survival Guide, and that was pretty deep. And if you would like to get one of those guides, you can just call us at our phone number or email us, and we can send you out what they're called the white pages. And today, Jeff, with the retirement focus, I'll hand it over to you.
Well, thanks, Steve. Welcome to the show. It's good to be here as always as we record this show today in our studio, makeshift studio. It's actually our conference room here in our offices in beautiful downtown Pottstown. We're here on the corner of High and Hanover Street. We're high on High and Hanover. We're up on the 4th floor. So the retirement, we thought we would do another show on the Retirement Survival Guide because, quite frankly, last month we did the show and we couldn't cover all the material. There's really a lot here, and it's really important because as people facing retirement today are facing retirement as no other generation has. We're entering retirement in a period of really uncertainty in the stock market. Most people are retiring without pensions. I should say, or a lot of people are retiring without pensions, which means that they have to self-direct. So it's really a different ball game, or as we like to say, this is not your father's retirement.
And Jeff, as our name says, Informed Family, we've been in the news over the last year or so, and you've been a little busier than I have, so why don't you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, last year during 2020, during the pandemic, we spent quite a bit of time on the public relations circuit, mainly because we couldn't do a lot of other things that we were used to doing. I mean, we recorded our TV show like we're doing now, but we couldn't go out in the public. That was the main thing. We weren't out on the public venues doing seminars and things of that nature. So we got published in a lot of very prestigious financial and mainstream publications. For example, we were in the USA Today. We were in Kiplinger, U.S. News and World Report. There was really, we had quite a bit of exposure. KYW, I was interviewed on KYW News Radio. So it was really good, I think, good PR. And we have all those publications out on our website. So if you want to get links, I should say, if you want to get copies of the stuff that was published, just go out onto our website, which is informedfamily.com.
As we get into topic today, into really retirement focus, we have a process which we call the Wellspring Formula. So maybe give us a little history of how that came about, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, well, the Wellspring Formula was something that we put together a couple years back because we wanted to kind of process everything, put everything in sort of a systematic format. And when we did that, it was quite fascinating, and we discovered that there were 113 things that we do for our clients. We sat down as a team, and we counted all the things that we do from start to finish, and it was quite, it's quite overwhelming, right? So you can't really just sit down with somebody and say, well, here are the 113 things that we do. This is something that happens over maybe the life of a relationship with one of our clients. So we took those 113 things, and then we boiled those down to the 7 pillars. So the 7 pillars are then, and we can expand on those, but that's like, wealth management and income planning and risk management and things of that nature. And then from there, we boil it all down to one thing, and that's the Wellspring Formula. So the Wellspring Formula is sort of the name of the process that we use in everything that we do with our clients.
And we haven't talked about this in a while, so I'm going to spring this one on you. But when we first started the Wellspring process, do you remember the questions that we asked our clients? And it was kind of a scary thing because it really opened up to what they really thought of us, and we've never really asked that.
Yeah. So what we did was part of that whole process when we developed the Wellspring Formula was that we sat down and we did a series of interviews. I think I interviewed upwards of 20 to 25 of our clients, and I think you had a similar number of people that you had interviewed, and we were basically did that to gain some introspective and trying to find out what they valued about working with us, what they said about us when they were talking to other, friends and family. What are some of the things that we could do to improve the relationship? Really centered on asking those questions, and we didn't know what. I know I felt that when we started that, I didn't know what people were going to say, but it turned out to be a very enlightening process, and that was sort of the start of us developing this whole Wellspring Formula, because it really, I think it gave us a good sense of purpose, because we know that we work for our clients. I mean, that's what we do, and we work for our clients. We operate under a fiduciary standard, but I think that process of asking those questions during that interview, I think, helped us gain a lot of insight into how our clients view us.
And how deep do you want to get into the 7 pillars?
Well, I'm kind of going with the flow here,
Okay.
Steve. But
Okay.
however you want to, I'm answering the questions as you
Okay.
as you throw them
Okay.
out to me.
Because I know they're going down from 113 to 7. We felt that those were the main ways we help our clients, finishing up with the sounding board. But they're all very, very important.
Yeah, so we can spend a little bit of time going through the 7 pillars. So I feel that one of the most important pillars is income planning. That is probably something that we do with the vast majority of the people that we work with few exceptions. And that is really, how are our clients going to define their income in retirement? And then along with that, we get into wealth management. And wealth management is kind of, it sounds kind of generic. And really, when you think about most financial advisors do wealth management, or they say they do wealth management, and we feel like we do it. We feel like we do it pretty well, but for us, it's just one of many things that we do. It's one of these 7 pillars, and then we get into risk management, and risk management is really your forte. And I feel like our practice has really kind of taken off as far as managing risk.
If I can talk on that a little bit, because it's, we see hundreds of people, and we've been in a bull, besides early last year, we've been in the longest bull market in history. And so risk is very, very important, because what I find most of the time is people are taking on a lot more risk than they really have to be. And they have no reason, they have no idea that they're doing that, and they're not educated on it. And so what we find is a lot of our new clients, when they come to us, they've actually won the game as far as savings. They've done a tremendous job savings for 30, 40 years. But now it's really changing the mindset that it is the second half of the game, and that they don't have to be as risky as they've been for the last 20 or 30 years. So that's a very, very important piece.
Yeah, I think too is, and that's an education process on our part, is that we, if you've, as you put it, if you've won the game, meaning that, you're going to have sufficient assets to live the rest of your life, there's no need to take undue risk. Like, you have a lot more to lose than you do to gain, right? So most people, if you say that you're going to increase their portfolio by 25 or 30%, that's nice, but you're not going to materially change their lifestyle, nor how they view their legacy, or they view their philanthropy. But if you lose 25 or 30%, that's a much different conversation, and it's an uncomfortable conversation, and it's a conversation most people don't want to have. So I think it's our job, and we really kind of slant our practice in such a way that we are much more conservative than most people would think they are,
Yeah.
right? So so that's risk management. And then we get into tax planning, and we just wrapped up another tax season here, which was a little bit unusual for a lot of reasons. First of all, they extended the tax deadline from April 15th to May 5th. Actually, it was May 17th. And then with all the things that happened last year in 2020, it just made the tax filing just a whole different ball game. They suspended required minimum distributions last year. There was all these stimulus packages. So it just made it a very, very unusual tax year. But we do a lot of planning so that we can minimize our taxes for our clients. And then we get into the legacy planning as another pillar, and that is how and what assets are you going to pass on to your the next generation, your children. You have people that say they don't want to leave their kids anything, and then you have other people that say they want to leave their children and their grandchildren a lot. So it really kind of depends, but it's really our job to kind of get that out there, out on the table, and make sure that we plan for it accordingly. And then another pillar is philanthropy, and we have to find out what charities people are interested in, how those charities are going to be benefited, how we can benefit them in a tax-efficient way, what tools are we going to use to do that. So that's a lot of discussion there too. And then we have and then we have like what we call the value-added services, and that's where we help our clients do some other things, peripheral things. Maybe it's some other insurance planning. Maybe it's referring them to another business partner of ours So it really takes on, are these 7 pillars really take on a lot of, a lot of different things, a lot of different dimensions.
And in the process, we have where we live with our clients, and we have a diagram on that, and a lot has to do with the why.
Yeah, so it's the why. So it's like what, we call it. This is we kind of call this this is a Venn diagram of what matters, right? So you see this circle of what matters and what we can control, right? So there's a lot of things in your life that matter, and there's also some things in life that you can control, and there's some things in life that you can't control, right? So I look out the window and I see it's a beautiful day, right? So you just enjoy the day, but you have no control over it. If it was pouring down rain, you couldn't control that either. But there are so many things in financial planning that you can control. And I think it's up to us to kind of bring that to the forefront and educate our clients to those things that you can control. You can take advantage of certain, certain programs that are available under the tax codes, and with respect to maybe retirement or investing, and we live at the intersection of what matters and what you can control, and that's where our Wellspring Formula lies.
Yep. And as far as wealth management, one process we follow is asset cycle portfolio. So that's something we use for people to generate income and have growth. Would you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the asset cycle portfolio is our proprietary process where we take a client really through the life cycle of retirement, right? So we want to look at income now, income in the short term, income in the intermediate term, income in the long term, and then your legacy. So income in the short term means that, okay, where are you going to get your income maybe in the next 5 to 7 years? Okay, so we have assets that are dedicated to just that. Okay, and they take on a different risk module than the next period of maybe what we call midterm income, maybe income in years 5 through 10 or years 7 through 10 or 12. And with we're taking on a different level of risk because we have a different timeline. So if we're going to defer for 5 years or we're going to defer for 7 years, maybe we can take a little more risk than if we just need the income immediately. So a lot of what asset cycle portfolio does is it's a tool to manage risk, but it's also a tool to generate income, a lot of which is guaranteed income. So you're tapping into a stream of income that's guaranteed. And then of course the other facets of asset cycle portfolio. And by the way, to our viewers, if you want more information on asset cycle portfolio, call our office. We'll put our phone numbers or our emails up on the screen, and we can get you more information on the asset cycle portfolio. But we also talk about the legacy in asset cycle, and also, there's an element of insurance that comes into play too, because you want the necessary protection, whether it's life insurance, whether it's long-term care. I mean, long-term care is probably, there's probably a whole show we could do just on long-term care, because that's a real planning issue, and I think will become more so as the baby boomers retire, because the baby boomers are going to live into their 90s or maybe beyond that, and that's where the real long-term risk lies. It's not so much the longevity end of it. It's like the level of health that you have once you get to that point. So, and how do you manage and cover that risk?
And when people come to us and they're within 3 to 5 years of retirement, as I said, a lot of times they have enough money saved, but they really don't know where their income's coming from. So that's, as you mentioned earlier, that's a very critical part of the process. So what are some of the income sources that are out there for people, and how do we help them?
Yeah, well, so you're going from the phase of life where you're growing your portfolio. So maybe you're contributing to your company's retirement plan, maybe you're investing in your own retirement plan. Maybe you're investing in your own IRA or your own retirement vehicle. But once you get into retirement and you're looking at generating income, what is that going to look like? So we build around what we know, right? So we know Social Security, whatever form that takes, whether, and if you're married, whether it's your Social Security benefit or your spouse's, there's like a lot of different claiming strategies, which we do seminars just on that, just on Social Security. And then pensions if they're available. So you build around those, and I would call those the guaranteed sources. And then you get into annuities, right? So annuities are good tools to generate income in retirement, guaranteed income in retirement. So we use those, and getting back to that discussion on the asset cycle portfolio, we sometimes build part of that asset cycle portfolio is built with annuities. But the 401k and the IRA, these retirement plans that have really only been part of the retirement landscape maybe for the last, I don't know how many years, let's say the last 40 to 50 years. But it's really the bulk of, from a lot of people, it's what their retirement, that's where they're getting their retirement income. So we have to transform what they have in a 401k to what now becomes a retirement income. So we do that with the 401k. So that's how the pieces to the puzzle fit together. Was there something else I missed there, Steve?
Yeah, we're good.
Oh, well, yeah, and then other other savings and other assets. So it is like putting pieces to the puzzle together. And I think the reason why maybe a lot of people struggle with this is because they don't really have a good bridge to get from the growth and accumulation phase of their life to the distribution phase of their retirement life. So that's kind of what we do, is we develop that bridge so that we can get income that's going to fit their needs. It's going to give them income they need. We're going to build guarantees in there where we can. We're going to manage the risk. We're going to help define the legacy, and all the things that we do with financial planning come into that.
And in the industry, a lot of people are now discovering that the relationship or the level of advice that an advisor gives can be at a couple different levels, from suitable to fiduciary.
Yeah, so and of course you and I have decided a long time ago through the designations that we have and the relationships that we have with our broker dealer, we are investment advisor representatives. You have a CFP designation along with a CHFC. So the CFP is a certified financial planner, the CHFC is a chartered financial consultant. I have a CLU, which is a chartered life underwriter, and I'm also a CHFC. But what those designations mean and what us being investment advisor representatives mean is it really that we're working in a fiduciary capacity for our clients. And it almost sounds like, well, that's the way it should be. And it's a very natural thing for us to operate that way. And, the landscape of the way our business has sort of progressed over the last 5 or 6 years is they're trying to legislate that you're acting in a fiduciary capacity. But there's a difference between acting in a fiduciary capacity and acting in just a suitable capacity. So a suitable capacity means you're just recommending an investment or strategy that is simply suitable. The fiduciary role means that you're operating in really the best interest of your clients, right? So the people that we work with, what does that mean? You're acting in the best interest of your clients. Well, to me, that means the first thing is you get to know your client, right? So you have to do a whole bunch of things to get to know the person that you're working with. So you have to sit down and have a conversation about what their needs are, what their goals are. You want to talk about their health. You want to talk about their family. You want to talk about a lot of things before you even get to what their assets are.
Which is the why.
Which is the why, right? So so you're getting into you're getting into what we call forms. So family, occupation, recreation. So we want to get to know all those things. So we usually do that. The first couple meetings, we may have 2 meetings before we even talk about the how, before we even talk about the money. And then once we talk about the money, then we can start to get into the risk and all the recommendations that we make. But the flow of that is very, for us, it's a very natural process that allows us to act in that fiduciary capacity. And then we do other things like find out if there's a fit. So a fit means that, we sit down and we'll sit down with during an initial consultation with somebody, and then a couple days later we'll call these prospective clients back and determine if there's a fit, and we make that determination on both ends. So, do we think it's a fit? Do we think that the couple that we're sitting across the table from, do we think that they're a fit into our practice? Do they fit into our philosophy of all the things that we do, right? And then the people that we're talking with, they're making the same evaluation. As advisors, do they think we're a fit, right? So it has to go both ways. And I'll tell you, Steve, that's made our life a lot easier, right? Because now we're working with only people that we want to work with, and that people that we want to work with, and people that want to work with us. So I feel that that's made our life easy. And again, it all fits into the fiduciary role.
Yeah. And along with the fiduciary, we operate independently.
We do. So we're independent advisors, which means we work for an independent broker-dealer, and we have access to dozens and dozens of product and strategies, and we're not tied to any one. We're not tied to any one bank. We're not tied to any one insurance company, any one mutual fund company. So that gives us access to a lot of stuff, and it helps us, operate in that fiduciary capacity. So that covers a lot. So I'm going to go back and that white paper that we are going to promote is the Retirement Survival Guide. So if you want a copy of the Retirement Survival Guide, give us a call, give our office a call, or send us an email and request that Retirement Survival Guide. And we'll get that out to you. So, Steve, with all that being said, this was a very interesting show, and I still feel that we still have some things to cover here with regards to retirement. There's really a lot here, but I think we covered a lot of ground today. So, with all that, we're going to sign off. This is Financially Speaking.